Welcome to TT from the D Wind Down Wednesday. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. You could have tuned in to any other podcast, but you chose to tune in tonight to TT from the D, and I'm super excited. My show platform is for everybody. I have a very wide range of listening audience that I'm grateful. I'm here for the married, the single, the broken, the healed, the happy, the sad, the depressed, the new, the old, the young, the wise, the seasoned, from every culture and every walk of life. Tonight, we're going to tap into and unwind with loving yourself. It's important to look at yourself in the mirror and have a self-check moment every day, and account yourself lucky to be able to tell yourself that you love yourself. Often we go through things. If you're a human being, which you are, with a beating heart, you've experienced some things that made you not love yourself. Some decisions you may have made in your past, or perhaps currently. It could be very well today you made a decision, or you made a choice that left you feeling, or has you feeling, that you don't love yourself. But it's important that you do. Every day when you rise, you have the opportunity to do better than you did yesterday. You have a new outlook on life. You can revisit what you saw, what you did, what you heard, and what you said the day before. But you can't retract it. You can't unhear it. You can't unsay it. You can't unsee it. But what you can do is decide what you want to do for the new day that you've been blessed to receive with what has happened. A lot of times we tend to dwell and we beat ourselves up. Whether we've been hurt in relationships or we've hurt people in relationships. Whether we've overstayed our welcome or we've understayed our welcome. We have to learn to love ourselves. We have to learn to look at that girl, to look at that boy, to look at that man, to look at that woman in the mirror and say, I love you. If nobody on this earth does, I do. You have to love yourself radically. You have to love yourself fiercely. I'm preparing to do a conference for people. Initially, I thought it was going to be for women, but it's for people. It's for all ages. Because loving yourself doesn't have an age cap. It doesn't have a color shade creed. It doesn't have a language key. It's you. It's me. I am you. You are me. And we are we. When you cry in your secret place, no one knows but God. And anybody you choose to tell. But when you're excited and you're jumping for joy, everyone knows. Not only are you unashamed and unafraid to share that you're happy and you're joyful, people can hear. And they're quick to come to you and say, what's going on? Why are you so happy? But sometimes, if somebody did hear you cry, if somebody did hear you yell from sadness, sometimes they're not so quick to come over and say, "What's going on? What happened? Why are you so sad?" It's very rare. And if they do, sometimes it's because they want to know. Because they want to know. Not because they want to know. And I know you might say, "TT, what?" There's a difference. And I want to know. I want to know because I want to know. Or do I want to know because I want to know? I would have to say 90% of the time, I want to know because I want to know. And then that 10%, I want to know because I want to know. You cipher through that. Remember, you are you and I am me and we are we. Lately, there's been so much going on in the world. A lot, to be clear. This is the first show for the 8 o'clock run. I had it all mapped out, I thought, on what I was going to talk about. And the guest I was going to have. And then it hit me. Although this is a pre-recorded show, it hit me. Remind people to love themselves. We don't love ourselves enough. It's been so much tragedy going on in the world in the past at least 45 years. I'm 46. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. I've hurt some people, and some people have hurt me. But I realize speaking life into people's lives gives them life. I don't know if you have ever had anyone speak unkind to you. I have. I don't know if you've ever had anyone speak down to you. I have. I don't know if you've ever had anyone misuse, misguide, or mislead you. I have. I don't know if you've had anyone betray you. I have. And with all of those situations and circumstances that I just rattled off, they all had a negative impact on my life. And if you could relate to any of those things I rattled off, you too have had a negative impact on your life. But then, I am here. You are here. Some people didn't make it here. I've learned to love myself, and I believe you've learned to love yourself. I've looked in the mirror plenty of times and said, "You're ugly. You're not beautiful. You're not pretty. You're not smart. You're never gonna do anything." And I realized that wasn't me talking to me. That was people speaking these things into my life. So much so that I thought that I was talking to myself. I thought that I saw what they said they saw. I heard what they said and I started to believe it. And then something happened in life. Self-talk. Looking in the mirror one day started the journey of self-love. Learning to love myself. Learning that I didn't have to be over 5 feet necessarily to be tall. Learning that I didn't have to be a size 6 to be small. Learning that I didn't have to wear provocative clothes to show that I was pretty. Accepting exactly who I am. Seeing the beauty within myself through the mirror, through the lenses of my own eyes. See, we can't see through the lenses of other people's eyes, but we look into their eyes when they have spoken things to us that have either made you cry on sight or made you say, please don't let this tear drop while they're saying these things. I don't want them to know that they're breaking me down. I don't want them to know that they're affecting how I feel. And oftentimes, I was able to manage not to cry. And if you could relate, you remember the times you didn't cry. But then there was those times you did. And also remember the times that I was broken by people who didn't actually love themselves. But I didn't know about that. I didn't know that they didn't love themselves, and that's why they couldn't love me. They couldn't even love on me. But thank God for a mirror, because it gives you the opportunity every day that you rise to look at who you see in the mirror. That boy, that girl, that man, that woman. And you could smile at him or her and say, we've come a mighty long way. We still got work to do. But I love you. I love you right where you are. And this is self-talk. Healing really goes hand in hand with love, especially self-love. If you don't know what it's like to be loved, that means you don't know what it's like to love you. To love who God made you be. Radically, unapologetically. What you hold inside of you is really deposited for others to get. The knowledge you have, the hurt you've experienced, the joy you have, the joy you've experienced, the stories you've heard, the stories you've told, the stories you've created. They're not all for you. They're for others. As I'm candidly speaking tonight, not directly on any particular one situation or circumstance, but abroad. I'm thinking of you, that boy, that girl, that man, that woman. I'm thinking, where are you on your journey with love? Where are you on your journey with loving yourself? What do you know about affirmations? What do you know about having a one-on-one, a self-check with yourself? Checking in with you. Think about the people you tend to check in on. I'm just checking in, tapping in, seeing how you're doing. What about checking in and tapping in to see how you're doing? We make time to do this for everybody else and everything else. And we leave little to no time for us, ourselves. We're the least important, and we're last on the list in most cases. In our own lives, and sometimes in other people's lives. We rate other people higher than we rate ourselves. But when you look in the mirror, who do you see? You're not going to always make the right choice. That's a given. But as I said, today you may have made a bad choice. Yesterday you might have made a bad choice. We could go on and on. Last year, last week, last month, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. We could go on and on. But we won't, because you can't rectify and change any of that. But you can ponder and say, I made a bad choice yesterday. I didn't make a good choice today. Tell yourself that in the mirror. Look at yourself and say, hey, you know that wasn't a good choice today. You know that was a bad choice yesterday. What can we do to make it better? What can we do not to do that again? Practice forgiving yourself. Just like you can humble yourself and tell somebody else you apologize, my bad, I'm sorry. When you do something that's not great for you, or you do something to yourself that's not good for you, look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you're sorry. Apologize to yourself. Tell yourself you're going to do better. I'm going to do better at loving you. I'm going to do better at loving me. Love. It's imperative that we understand it, that we implement it, that we share it, that we seek it, to say the least, that we understand it. Right? I could think of some things I'd like to share as I get ready to close out. Right? When I think about the Word of God, I'm actually flipping through my Bible, and I'm looking for some things I want to share. And my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, Miss D, I affectionately called her. We used to have some really good conversations. And I've heard about love, how we sacrifice our self-love for the love of others. And I was reminded to love me first. Because if I love myself first, I could love everybody else. When we are isolated in the world by things and situations and circumstances, we tend to find fault. Sometimes we take on fault that's not our own. Sometimes we carry burdens that's not ours to carry. Sometimes we drag other people's crosses because we think it's too heavy for them. They're not going to be able to bear that alone. And we don't think about the additional weight of life that we put upon ourselves when we struggle to carry our own raggedy cross. Let me share this with you. This piece is from my Holy Bible, Woman Thou Art Loosed edition by T.D. Jakes, gifted to me by a good friend named Candy back in 2004 for my birthday. One of the best gifts I've ever received in my entire life. In this book, in this chapter, you would find this actually in the book of Joshua. Inspired, I should say, from the book of Joshua. It's called Alone but Never Lonely. And this is for my women. This is strictly for my women and my girls that will one day become women. Some women secretly carry guilt that they have misappropriated as daughters, thinking it was their fault that their fathers didn't say what they should have said or didn't stay with their mothers. If you're the one, or if you're one of those women, one of those girls, you're always trying to prove something to yourself. Growing up is hard work. It is even tougher when today's woman is wrestling with yesterday's little girl. Somewhere deep beneath the painted smiles and polished nails is a longing, an aching, a void. Somewhere beneath the symbols of success lurks a feeling of incompleteness. The emptiness taints your success and taunts your accomplishments. You are either distrustful of men as a whole, or you realize and you idolize a man's attention as the epitome of success and fulfillment. You may be afraid to be alone. You may feel that you need to have someone in your life and you don't want to be alone. And you fight the feeling by adding people to your life. If you were wise, you would know that having people in your life, in your house, or even in your bed doesn't ensure that you will not be lonely. But if you really come to know God, you could be alone and still not be lonely. It is when you understand the gift of being alone that you will really be ready to share your company, your compassion, companionship with someone else. Whenever someone is involved with you, they become a part of what was going on in you before they came around. For some men, that is traumatic, because if the woman isn't happy before he comes, she will soon be unhappy with him around. She will go from madly in love to distant and frustrated, because she expected him to be all that she hasn't gotten out of life. At first, she's excited. Then later, she's disappointed because she realizes that she is still involved with a wound from her past, and it's a void that only the Holy Spirit can fill. Most Christians are seated so high on their perch of self-righteousness that they often fail to minister to the pain behind the sin. They are concerned about the habits of sin, but they don't seem to understand that removing the action doesn't free the heart. It just reprises a problem that manifests in cynicism and frustration. And people are teachable when they're not infected in pain. It's like telling a child not to scratch a rash. They'll do it. Even when they do it, they'll do it in their sleep because the feeling of discomfort. But you can apply a soothing ointment and the habit is easily broken. And I'm sorry, we live in a world filled with pain and rashes, with imperfect situations and circumstances and scars. But in all of my searching, the one thing, the only thing I've found that will soothe the itching for affection and bleeding from scars is God. Now, I shared that. I'm sorry, because I got emotional. So, you know how you had the little quiet, ugly cry? I had that for a minute. Right before I start reading. But I look at it and I say, when we look in the mirror and we reflect and we think about where we are today, what we have, what we lost. You have some people that lost everything they worked hard for or everything they were given, yet it was never enough. They were never full in their spirit because they didn't love themselves. They loved things. They loved people, but they didn't know how to love themselves. It takes a strong woman, a strong man, a strong boy, a strong girl to look in the mirror and tell themselves that I love you. I love you. the person that's looking back at me in this mirror, I love you. I love your brokenness. I love your shape. I love your voice. I love your hair. I love your wrinkles. I love your scars. I love your hurt. I love your joy. We are who we are because of all of it. We grow. Every day you rise up, ladies and gentlemen, is a day to unwrap this gift called life. Find joy in it. Learn to love yourself. Have a self-talk with yourself. Don't skip a day. You don't skip things that are detrimental to you. But then sometimes you do because you think, I'll just do it tomorrow. But what if tomorrow doesn't come? What if today is your last day? What did you say to yourself? You could even do a double duty. Before you go to bed, you could tell yourself, hey, we had a great day today. Or, today was tough. Tomorrow will be better. Forgive yourself and go to bed. Right? You wake up. I'm ready for a beautiful day. Today gonna be a great day. Because you're speaking life into yourself. You don't need anybody to do that. Some people find joy in speaking life into others. Then some people find joy in speaking death into others. Killing your spirit. Killing your joy. Killing your dreams. Killing your joy. Killing your peace. And the list goes on and on. But you got to learn to speak life into yourself first. You know what it's like to speak life into others. Find out the way you make them feel, how full they feel, how grateful, and how you feel that one feeling of sensation and proudness. Don't you really want to know how they feel? You know what it's like to hear someone speaking to someone and how electrifying that is to them because you feel the concurrence of the energy they're surging and sending. Speak it to yourself. Minister to yourself. Some people don't have anybody that could do that for them, so it's important that you learn to do it for yourself. Self-love is the best love you'll ever have in this world, on this earth. First, the love of a parent, the love of a guardian, the love of a person who's your caretaker is awesome, especially when it's genuine. But self-love is the best love. Well, that's how we end this night. I challenge you to tell yourself you love yourself every day, whether it's in the morning or at night before you go to bed. Speak life into yourself. Ask God to bind up the negative energy and the things that was told and spoken over your life when you were younger or even just yesterday, and send it back to the pits of hell from where it comes, because you have no room in your life for it. Yeah, that sounds good. Well, I'm your girl TT from the D. I hope that you've enjoyed this Wind Down Wednesday. I hope that you'll catch me here next Wednesday. You never know who will be through. It could be just me, myself, and I. But I'll definitely be showing up for you and me at 8 o'clock. Right here at TT from the D Wind Down Wednesday. You can find me over on Spotify and all the other social media platforms that I share. Or you can go right to ttfromthed.com. I'll see you soon.